Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the TechMates podcast. Today we have Jarin Eisenberg from Groundswell Startups. Jarin is the Chief Operating Officer of Groundswell. So, Jarin, hi.
Very excited to join you guys on this podcast.
Yes, thank you so much. And we have Derek on the other end there as well. Hi, Derek.
Hey guys, Derek here. I am in Melbourne today, Melbourne, Florida.
Yep. And Jarin is also in Melbourne. I'm here in Orlando, as usual. So, Jarin, we'd love to learn a little bit about Groundswell. So what exactly is Groundswell Startups?
Yeah, Groundswell is a nonprofit high-tech incubator and co-working space. And what we do really well is we bring great resources, mentorship to early stage founders. We help them get ready to raise capital or access really great manufacturers or product designers like JCon. And we make sure that people that have an idea or are looking to scale a company don't have to leave the Space Coast to do so.
That's fantastic. And you mentioned the Space Coast, which leads me to my next question. How do you like living here in Brevard County, the Space Coast?
So I like it a lot. I think as a young professional, it's an easy community to get into. You can really grow your network. I do think it's a community that takes a little longer to settle into, especially if you're coming from a larger city and you're looking for some of those retail or entertainment aspects that we're still developing and growing. But I think now is such an exciting time to be here on the Space Coast. There's rocket launches going off every time. There's all this economic development happening, and there's more eyes on this area than ever before.
Wow. Yeah. So I've been here for like 11 years, or at least been working here since 11 years from Orlando, Melbourne area, Palm Bay. So what would you, you kind of touched on it, but what would you really say? Like, why should people move to Melbourne? Like, especially like young companies and stuff.
Yeah, I think for young companies, one, there's so many excellent resources here. Just the technology and the talent here makes this place super competitive. So if you're on the Space Coast and you work at a tech-focused company here, there's not just one great job opportunity. There's lots of great job opportunities. So you can really make a home here. It's really nice for families. Our schools are great. Again, it's like that easier way of life. It still has that small town feel, but we're getting those big city touches. And then we're just perfectly located. You could go to Orlando for some fun. You can hop over to Tampa, but you can come home to Melbourne. And again, as a young professional, I feel super fortunate to have started my career here because I've been able to grow my network, and there's a focus, I think, from the community as a whole as just supporting young professionals and helping them grow and grow their careers here.
I call this area that we live in Florida, Brevard County or the Space Coast, Melbourne, Palm Bay, Titusville, Rockledge, this area that we live in, I call it Florida's best kept secret. It's just something that, you wouldn't know unless you lived here. And, I had no idea. When I moved here 12 years ago, I didn't even know where this area was. I had no idea. And so just coming here, I think has been really eye-opening. And, I don't know how you feel about that, but it's, just a small town. When I walk around, we don't have as many food choices as you would have in like San Francisco Bay Area. But at the same time, we are a smaller group of individuals. And I think it gives an opportunity too for a lot of people to stand out because we're smaller. And so, you can network, you can be recognized a little bit more. And so, I just wanted to kind of play to some of your thoughts there. What are some of the companies you have worked with?
Yeah, so I'm fortunate that I get to work with a lot of different companies and technologies here at Groundswell Startups, from SwiftPOS to Calgon to, critical frequency design. There are so many companies here. We're definitely one of the most diverse incubators and ecosystems in the Southeast. So I see everything from revolutionary rocket fuel to creating the best game of chase ever in your backyard to new ways of snacking here at Groundswell.
So, Jarin, what kind of so you guys are like a co-working space. So you have office space, and what kind of companies are you really looking for, in the future to come join you guys?
Yeah, we're looking for tech-focused startups, tech-enabled companies. That's our mission here, is to grow startups, help them scale, and help them access capital. Because you can have the best idea in the world, but if you can't get it funded, then you're facing a lot of obstacles. And so we at the incubator, we deal with a lot of software and a lot of apps, but we also deal a lot with hardware companies. And we really have a specialized knowledge in what it takes to bring hardware to life, to launch a product. We have a lot of in-depth e-commerce expertise here, which definitely makes us pretty unique.
What kind of resources, I think you've kind of touched on this, but what kind of resources do companies have access to when they're working with Groundswell?
So our facility alone is a great resource. They have low cost memberships and rents here with no contracts or leases. We have 3 conference rooms with the latest tech in them, and there's coffee and there's snacks, and there's all those things that make a good working environment. But the heart of what we do is curating connections to mentors who have been there, done that, scaled companies, had exits, and then vetted resources. So when you're a startup, every single penny counts. And when you go make that spend, whether it's to get a prototype or to get your website made, we have a whole network of vetted resources that feel a sense of responsibility to the community. We've seen their work. So when that spend happens, good work gets done. So the heart of what we do is really meeting with companies one-on-one, many, many, many times over the course of their journey, really walking them through the process and making these introductions so that maybe it's their first customer, or maybe it's that first investment. We have templates that deal with performas and pitch decks and really kind of anything you can think about. And so we always describe it as a community first and foremost, but we just have a ton of incredibly valuable resources that help founders bring their ideas and their dreams to life.
That's awesome. And when we first met you, I think Groundswell was doing a lot. I mean, when I attended the pitch events and things like that, I noticed a lot of software. And obviously, Derek and I have been in hardware. So we're wondering, do you feel like there's some shift going on between software and hardware, or is it pretty equal? Has there been more hardware lately, or not so much?
Yeah, in the past, so I've been at Groundswell for 3 years, and I've just seen a lot of hardware companies, medical device companies. And I think that really speaks to the nature of our county, right? We're founded on aerospace, defense companies. And so people are coming out of those companies. They're seeing an opportunity or a problem that's not currently being addressed in the large company that they're in. And so they're addressing it. And so we see a lot of people that have physical products, and the barriers to bringing physical products to market, is a lot higher and different sometimes than a software or an app. And so we've really been focused on how do we break down those barriers for founders.
So the difference between software and hardware kind of goes like this. Hardware is the stuff that you can physically touch, you can feel, you can click a button, you can flip a switch. The software is typically it's the soft stuff that you don't touch or feel. It's the computer GUI. It's the interface that you're working with. It is an app that you're interfacing with, but all of it, they need hardware to interface with. And so I'm kind of curious, you mentioned that it is difficult, and it takes time for hardware to be built. We've talked a little bit about a lab that could be coming to Groundswell. Can you tell me a little bit more about, what your thoughts are on what that could be and when we could be expecting that?
So we at Groundswell have been very fortunate. We were selected for some CARES Act funding. And what we're going to be doing with a large portion of those funds is building out a prototyping lab so that founders in our community have access right here in the building so that they can do their prototypes, they can iterate on those prototypes, they can get in the few of the hands of customers, and they can really get that critical feedback that they need. Our goal is to help people create their idea and feel so confident in it and get so ready that they can eventually be customers of JCON systems or other manufacturers in the area. And so, we're looking forward to building out a small prototyping lab. We're excited to partner with Catania Enterprises and JCON and you guys to help guide what goes in that lab and how does it function. But again, the whole purpose of it is to break down those obstacles for hardware companies and really make sure that everything a founder needs to succeed is right under our roof.
Cool. And so I think, yeah, I know we've been bombarding you with the questions, but so what is where can someone go to learn more about Groundswell and sponsoring you guys, and maybe even like sponsoring or investing in the companies that work out of Groundswell?
Yes, you can check us out at swellstartups.com. Check out our LinkedIn. We're always posting the latest information. I think the best way to understand Groundswell is to step into our building. This building was made with goodness. It is baked into the walls, and you can like really feel what we're all about the moment you step into this building. We're located right outside of downtown Melbourne. We are the old skate park. So we have a little over 11,000 square feet here, and we have a whole row of buildings. So what started as just Groundswell Startups is now 5 buildings filled with high-tech startups that are really pushing boundaries here on the Space Coast. So come check us out.
Fantastic. And I think one challenge you have as a small company is really getting started. It's getting the traction, it's getting your information and what it is that you're trying to, share with the community out into the world. And that's really hard, whether it happens to be social media, whether it happens to be, doing pitch events or even, different venues. It's really challenging. And so one thing we have talked about, and I don't know if you want to elaborate, so I'm giving you an out here, but 0 clicks. I don't know if you wanted to elaborate a little bit about that, like how to get traction when you don't have any traction, how to get started. Do you have any thoughts or comments behind that?
Yeah, so I see people walk in the door all the time, right, that are facing that exact obstacle. And a lot of times they need an outsider's perspective. But yeah, 0 clicks, we're launching our own podcast because we want to tell the stories of the founders that are making the impossible possible here on the Space Coast. There is so much happening here. And what's really unique about Groundswell is that it's a privately funded incubator. We operate by 2 rules, right? Do right by startup founders, give them the resources that they need so they can, have an exit one day. And so we want to tell the stories of the people that are taking risks. My building is filled with people that have mortgaged their homes, that are not taking salaries, that have put everything on the line to pursue their idea to disrupt an industry. And it's really important that those stories are told because there's a lot of economic impact that are coming out of these companies. They're hiring, they're paying well, and they're fueling that economy. And we want to take control of that narrative and tell our own 0 click stories.
Wow,
That's
that's
fantastic.
awesome.
Go ahead, Jay.
I think that's pretty much all the questions we had. Do you have any questions for us?
I do have some questions for you. So you
Okay.
guys, I met you guys back in the day now, right? It's been a while when I was the executive director in downtown Melbourne, and looking back at what you guys were doing there and how you were working with Jenna and what would turn out to be Groundswell, you guys were really kind of on the ground floor of building the startup ecosystem here in the community. And so I want you guys to kind of think back to those early days and what you kind of saw then and, where it's come now and just kind of what are your thoughts on that, almost decade transition?
So yeah, I mean, when we did that pitch event, Derek and I were just sitting down. I think Jenna was there, and we were just brainstorming. Like we didn't know, we were a new company back then. We didn't know how to market, and we knew there was this pitch thing, and we were like, there are all these pitch events happening all over the world, and we've attended a few of them. So we were like, hey, why don't we do our own little pitch event and see, what happens? And that's kind of where the pitch thing grew up, So we set a budget and we started creating flyers and we got a pretty good turnout. I mean, I think we did like 3 or 4 events, and then we did the final one at in downtown. And we had no idea really, like we were just having fun and trying to see what would happen. That was the whole event. But things have really, really grown. I mean, the startup community in Melbourne is just amazing. It's grown. Obviously in Orlando, I spent a lot of time here. It's a really growing environment. And we've spent a lot of time in San Francisco, and it's just amazing to see all of that coming over here. We didn't realize that was going to happen, but it a lot of people are moving here because of COVID and things like that. So a lot of entrepreneurs are moving here. They're starting their company. They're getting funded, and it's it's been amazing to watch this whole thing grow.
So Jay, I remember when we were doing that pitch event, we were, and we still are, a small company, and we were trying to figure out how to get people to come to our location. And I think that, doing the pitch event, we were trying to interact with the community, with the network, and just get our names known. But also at the same time, we were doing these pitch events to help connect investors to people who have ideas. And ultimately, being a product design and manufacturing company, our goal was to bring that triangle together and help connect everyone to kind of harness what they do best and bring that forward to the community. That's what we're trying to do. And then that has basically taken its own thing and gone off into its own world. And now Groundswell is your guys' community. It's so involved. You guys have so many things going on, and I just want to come back and get more involved with you guys. And I think it's a great opportunity. When we started in this area, there wasn't anything like that. Jay and I, we started in our house. Well, actually Jay's house. And we then got some equipment. We put it in his garage. And at the time, we didn't have any mentors. We didn't have anybody helping us out. And when we actually did start talking to people, we had these different people wanted to buy our company. And we're like, we're a 2-person company. We're not really ready to do any selling. And so, we were very early on. We didn't have mentors. And I think Groundswell is a great opportunity for people to come to get help, to get a community, sense of that community, to pitch their ideas, and to really know that everyone in the community is looking out for them versus, going out into the wild and trying to do it on your own. If you do that, that's okay. But at the same time, know that there are wolves out there, and those wolves might want to take advantage of you. And when you join the community, I think it's a huge opportunity to get involved and connect with other people who share these same ideas. So I think Groundswell is amazing for that.
Yeah, you guys do such a good job, I think, of getting immersed in the ecosystem, right? And we're grateful for people like you. Like, this organization thrives because companies like Jaycon not only support it, but you lend your expertise and your time to it. And I know you guys work with some very large, very exciting companies, but you're also really adept at working with that individual, with that idea, and growing with them. So tell me some characteristics that make a really great founder from your experience when working with products.
I would say we're really looking for a founder that has a little bit of knowledge about what they're doing, and they've thought things through, not necessarily like a proper business plan, but like at least they've put some effort into that. They're just not a random founder that has like 20 ideas and is working on many, many different products and has shelved a few of them. We really want someone who's really dedicated to that one thing, that one product. Possibly someone who has worked at a large company and has given that up, has seen what that's like, and it's like, no, I want to be my own boss. I want to be an entrepreneur. We can see that passion come through, in that first meeting when we're talking to them. So we're looking for people like that, and just someone who's put a lot of thought into like not only like creating the widget, but how am I going to sell the widget? Because selling it is one of the hardest things we've found. A lot of the founders, they'll make 10,000 units and then they don't know how to sell it because they never thought that far. They thought that, hey, just creating it, someone's going to come and buy it. And that's just never the case. There's just so much more to business than design, engineer, manufacture. You have to learn how to do marketing. You have to learn how to do HR. You have to learn. So there's just like so many things. And I just want to, when I talk to a founder, I want to make sure that he's thought of those things. I think that's a really great character to see whenever we get a new project.
Cool. Well, I think that's all the questions I had on my list for you guys. I love that you guys are doing this and sharing your knowledge with everyone. And again, we're super appreciative of all the time and resources you spend with companies here at Groundswell.
Thank you so much, Jarin. I really appreciate you, joining us for our first interview. So we hope to be doing a lot of these with different people who can share their knowledge and help the community and our listeners and your listeners eventually when you launch your blog or vlog. All right. Thank you so much. Thank you everyone for watching. I'm Jay. You guys want to say the?
I'm Derek. Thank you for watching. We really appreciate it, and listening too.
Bye.
Bye.